prominent
You're going to be late to
was
work.
the scene
Oh,
for the
I have told you
confusion
everything
of the
5
Susan
times.
Baldwin case. The evening's dramatic events started at the home of Susan Baldwin, where police had devised a plan to lure the murderer back to the scene of the crime.
Scene of the crime, I love this.
Crane Tolliver was shot by Police Commissioner Robert Scorpio while trying to escape from Mrs. Baldwin's cottage. For reasons unknown, Tolliver, though seriously wounded, managed to make his way to the Quartermaine grounds. When he was brought inside the mansion, he collapsed in front of horrified guests.
I can't believe I missed all of this, Amy.
Murder, but so far, police are still unsure of the motive.
Party last night, huh, girl?
What? Scott Baldwin, who had been under suspicion for murdering his wife, has been released from jail.
Blackie, there's a letter for you.
A letter, huh?
It's from the dean's office.
Stay tuned to this station for more on this and other stories at 9 a.m. And now back to more music.
I gotta go. I'll see you later.
Les, isn't this too unbelievable? It certainly is.
We can't hold out on surgery, Rick.
I know I want to get in there as soon as possible. Find out what's happened, where that bullet's lodged.
The x-rays will be up any minute, doctors.
Thanks, Bobbie.
The spleen's a pretty sensitive area. It's best to go in with as much information as possible.
And OR2 will be ready in 20 minutes.
Thank you. Ed, thanks for helping.
Listen, this guy's gonna need all the help he can get.
What's the latest?
On what?
Come on, get in the ball game, Alan. Tolliver, of course. Is the old buzzard dead yet?
We don't know.
Well, what's wrong with you two? Do I have to do everything?
What do you want us to do? Go down to the hospital and hang around his bed and wait?
Get on the phone. Find out what's going on.
I don't think it's a very good idea if we seem a bit too eager.
Oh, eager schmeager. If the old guy dies, the secret dies with him. That's what makes me eager.
And if he dies, we aren't going to ever know where the papers are.
That's the least of my worries. The worst thing that could happen for us is to have him live. If he does, he may have to go on trial, and then everything comes out. Everything.
Parties to miss. I had to miss that one.
Amy, it wasn't exactly a barrel of laughs.
The Quartermaines must have lost it. This guy get blood all over their oriental carpets.
You are gross and disgusting. You realize that, don't you?
Hey, you're a doctor. I'm a nurse. We deal with blood all the time. It's no big deal, right?
It's not my favorite topic of conversation over my breakfast, if you don't mind.
Okay. You could leave out the blood, but could you give me some of the details?
He was shot.
I know that Robert Scorpio shot him, but you could tell me something more than that.
That's all I know. He was shot. He was outside. Jimmy Lee found him, and he brought him in, and that's it.
But wasn't Jimmy Lee at the party?
Yes, he was.
Well, then what was he doing outside?
Amy, I don't know.
But Les, it was raining out.
Amy, read the paper. They know much more about it than I do.
They have a picture of this guy. Well, it's not really a picture. It's really a police drawing. Crane Tolliver is the weirdest name I've ever heard. Why do you think that they don't have a regular picture?
Why don't you call and ask them? I'm sure they'll be tickled to tell you.
Yeah, right. Les, I know this guy.
Amy.
No, really, I'm not kidding. I really mean it. I don't know where, though, or how. I just remember because he's old, and...
Amy, you're going to be late for work.
What? That's it!
Amy!
That's it! No, really, I'm not kidding. It was at the hospital. I'm positive that's where it was. See, I remember because he didn't seem to know where he was going, and that's why I noticed him.
Because you wanted to know where he was going, naturally.
No, I wanted to help him. So I asked him a question, and he didn't answer me. And now I know why. Don't you want to know?
Do I have a choice?
See, he was probably stalking somebody. He probably figured that Susan was at the hospital getting a checkup or something like that. And he was probably going to grab her and drag her into a deserted room, probably the linen closet. No, really. And he was going to kill her. Oh, Les, I should have said something to somebody. I probably could have prevented Susan from being murdered.
Amy, that is ridiculous.
Les, from now on, I'm following my intuitions.
My intuitions tell me that you are going to be late for work.
Think he's going to be on my floor?
I certainly hope for his sake that he isn't.
Are you coming?
No, I have to make a little stop at the university first.
Ah, letter from the dean. Busted. Don't tell me, let me guess. Parrish is getting expelled.
Wrong, my precious. Quite the opposite.
Commissioner's order, Steve. I'm going to have to post the guard outside ICU here and the operating room and break the side to operate.
I can assure you, Captain, that man in there is in no condition to run out of
I
here.
know that, but he is a confessed murderer, and I must go by the book.
I understand.
Good.
All right, you have my okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Steve. Bert, how is he?
The same, I'm afraid.
Here we are.
Good, thanks. I was afraid that might be the case. The bullet is lodged right in the spleen.
That bullet's got to come out, Rick.
Yeah, his heart condition, his age. Go in there. I'm just afraid that his heart may not be able to stand any more extra trauma.
If we don't, his chances of surviving are nil.
Steve?
Looks to me like you don't have a choice. Operate.
Yes, we go in there. We have trouble with the spleen.
There's always a total splenectomy. Get the bullet out, remove the spleen, and close up fast.
Well,
I'm game.
fine, let's do it.
I'll meet you in the scrub room.
Tell him to get him ready. Boy, oh boy. And I thought police work was risky. From everything I've heard this morning about Tolliver's arrest, I would prefer surgery anytime.
What happened last night, anyway?
Well, Heather made a deal with Commissioner Scorpio to help try and catch Tolliver. She was the bait. Now, when Tolliver got to Susan's apartment, the police were waiting for me, trying to escape, and Scorpio shot him. That sounds very courageous for Heather. Why did Tolliver shoot Susan? Susan and he were involved in an extortion scheme. I remember hearing something about that some time back, yes.
Blackmail, wasn't it?
And the Quartermaines were involved.
I never realized Susan was a part of it.
Very interesting. Anything else? No. Nothing that I'm free to expose to you.
Well, blackmail or not, that doesn't explain why Tolliver killed her.
Probably a cross in some way.
And that's a reason for murder?
Well, if someone as determined as Tolliver, yeah, I'd say it'd be a good one. Why do you say that? A man as injured as he was, to drag himself all the way to the Quartermaines, he was very determined about something. Captain, you find out what that something is, and you've got something.
Well, I'm sure it'll all come out eventually.
Well, whatever comes out is up to the commissioner, and whether or not Tolliver lives. Excuse me, John.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well,
Bad news.
he's alive.
Yes, and the latest news is they're going to operate.
Well, if the man lives, we're dead.
Not necessarily. You know, there's a chance that we could talk him into telling us where the papers are.
Yeah, fat chance of that.
No, really. Listen, I was thinking maybe I could go down there after the surgery, and maybe in his weakened condition.
Have you lost your mind? The police are probably just waiting for us to make some dumb move.
Absolutely, Alan, really. If he wouldn't tell Lila where the papers are, he's certainly not going to tell one of us.
Yeah, Monica's right.
Where are those papers?
Maybe he stashed them in a safety deposit box.
Well, wherever he has them stashed away, I just hope they stay in their little cubbyhole and rot. That way, dear Cousin Herbert isn't going to know what happened, ever.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Paper, we're on the front page, all over.
Yes.
Don't remind me.
That's a very good article, actually. Very well documented. It even mentions your son. The other one. Dragging the murderer into the house.
Very courageous young man he is. Regular chip off the old block.
Oh, what an incredible arrival you've given me. Are things always this exciting around here?
Oh, no, actually, this is sort of just an average week, really. Listen, why don't I get you some fresh coffee? This is cold, I'm sure.
Thank you. I'll just pick it up in the kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Would you be a dear and ask Stella to bring me some tea? The woman never seems to be around when I want her.
Of course. By the way, will he be living here now?
Who?
Well, Jimmy Lee. Now that he's been announced as a Quatermaine, I just thought he might want to.
Yeah, over my dead body.
Well, whatever it means really is that, Jimmy Lee sort of really likes the ambience of the waterfront. You know, that really kind of suits his lifestyle.
Yes. Yes, well, he did seem a trifle curious. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Curious, yeah. And he is a Quartermaine.
What are you muttering about now?
You know, if someone has those papers, it has to be the only other someone outside of the police who knows the truth. And that someone is our dear little Jimmy Lee Eric Holt Quartermaine.
Yes, Ramsey, please.
Yeah, Ramsey here.
What's the news on Tolliver?
Oh, Robert, they're getting ready to operate.
How's it look?
Chancy.
Look, there's nothing more you can do there now. I'd like you to check out the construction trailer down at the university.
Oh, I gather that you didn't find what you were looking for?
You gathered right, no papers.
Okay, I'll get right on it.
Listen, don't let Holt see you.
Oh, don't worry, he won't. What's your next move?
I want to have a talk with Tolliver. Faced with surgery and his condition, he may just want to come clean.
You think that Jimmy Lee has the papers?
Well, he had to be working with Tolliver. Just think of all the coincidences.
Such as?
Well, Jimmy Lee was at Susan's house the night she told us about the blackmail scheme.
And he was in jail the night that she was murdered.
Which was also the same night that someone was impersonating Tolliver in the jail.
Yeah, Jimmy Lee was probably working with Tolliver, helping him pull off the impersonation.
He was working with Tolliver. He was working with Tolliver at the construction site.
And don't forget...
So obvious.
Well, don't forget about what dear Celia just reminded us of.
Oh, yeah. He was the one. Jimmy Lee was the one who dragged Tolliver in here last night.
Yeah, and no papers were found on him, so he had to give them to Jimmy Lee.
Wait a minute. Maybe he didn't give them to him. Maybe he just told them where they were.
Alan, think. Be logical, will you? Look, Tolliver went over to Susan's to kill Heather. He believed that Heather saw him kill Susan. Now, after that deed was done, he would be on the first bus or plane out of Port Charles.
Of course, so he had to have the papers on him.
The police say that he didn't. They also said they are nowhere on the grounds.
Somewhere between the boathouse and here, he slipped them to Jimmy Lee.
It all makes perfect sense.
Of course it does. Any fool could figure it out. Oh, good Lord.
What?
Right. Alan, listen, we've just figured this out. Scorpio certainly has. He's going to be hot on the trail.
There's nothing else we can do. We just have to talk to him. All we want him to do is keep quiet about the blackmail scheme. There's no reason why anybody should know about this now.
Especially Cousin Herbert.
Bite your tongue, Monica. I'm going to ride over to the hospital with you. I think that Scorpio's probably talking with that old geezer now. With any kind of a luck, we can arrive at the hospital in time to hear the Tolliver services tomorrow morning at 9.
Hey, some party last night, huh?
Yeah, right.
Lots to drink, lots to eat. You got murderers coming
Hey, wait a second. That was my idea.
Sorry, I guess it's kind of cool to say that.
That's all right. Listen, I'm sorry I'm just a little uptight today.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. And I shouldn't have bugged you about dancing with that high society dame.
Her name is Celia.
Yeah, she's pretty good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have butted in.
It's all right. Forget it.
Hey, you were pretty drunk last night. You know that?
Yeah. It didn't last long, though. I mean, I sobered up just like that.
Yeah, well, that old man being her could have sobered anybody up. Did you know that guy?
I know. You know. Brown. Remember? Worked here?
That old guy that used to work here?
That's right.
What a trip. I didn't know that.
What are you doing here so early, huh?
Oh, I was looking for Lou. You seen her around here?
She's at the trailer, reading a book.
Reading a book, huh?
Yeah.
Great. My training's finally sinking through a fat head of hers. It's good.
I want to talk to you.
I gotta be to class. It's gotta wait.
I'll see you guys later, Red, once you look at these, blueprints.
Thank you, Jimmy Lee. Sit.
Sure.
Sit.
All right. Hey, where'd you get that?
In the trash, where you threw it. Obviously, you didn't read it.
I read it.
No, you couldn't have, or you wouldn't have thrown it away, which is why I am now going to read it to you, and you are going to sit there and listen.
But I already
Dear
read it.
Mr. Parrish, the Mathematics Department of Fort Charles University wishes to congratulate you on becoming the top mathematics student in your freshman class. Because of this, it gives us added pleasure to inform you that you have been selected to represent the university at the Science and Math Fair in New York City. All expenses paid, further details and accompanying letter, etc., etc., etc. Do you know what this means?
Yeah, it means they're talking about some fairs. I hate fairs.
No,
Fairs.
they are not just talking about a fair, and you know it perfectly well. Blackie, you are the top math student in your entire class. How could you just throw that away?
Could have done with my eyes closed.
No, you couldn't. You worked very hard to do it. Blackie, look at what you have accomplished. Look how far you have brought yourself. It wasn't that long ago, you know, when you were nowhere, man, and you were going nowhere. But you worked, and you brought yourself all the way up to the top, and I am proud of you.
That means a lot to me.
Well, it should mean a lot to you, because I want you to be proud of you. Blackie, you cannot turn this invitation down. You cannot, because when you're there and they announce Blackie Parrish, top mathematics student, freshman class, Port Charles University, that's your moment. That is going to be such a wonderful moment that you're going to remember it and carry it with you for the whole rest of your entire life. Blackie, this is a very precious thing. You cannot just throw it away.
You really know how to get to a guy, huh?
It's my specialty.
All right, I'll go.
You know what? I love you.
Same here.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to work. You have a wonderful day.
Okay.
Don't be late coming home. It's your turn to set the table.
Set the table. I'm the top math student. I can't do housework.
Oh, yes, you can, my little genius.
Robert, we're just going to surgery.
Yeah, I know. I need to talk to Tolliver before you do.
Well, we're prepping him now, but he's going to be out of it any minute.
In that case, it's important I talk to him right now.
Rick is a
It just gave me permission.
Oh, well, in that case, go ahead.
Crane, it's Commissioner Scorpio. Look, you're going in for some heavy-duty surgery. Put everybody out of their misery and tell me where those papers are. You can't blackmail the Quartermaines anymore. The money's going to be no good to you in prison. The papers are worthless. Tell me where they are or who has them.
The Quartermaine money can even buy the police commissioner.
Nobody buys me.
You expect me just to hand over those papers so you can cover it all up for them? Not on your life.
Crane, listen to me, will you?
We're
Robert,
ready for you, Doctor.
I'm sorry you'll have to leave.
I said upstairs you wanted to see me.
Yes, it's about Tolliver.
More specifically, the papers.
Well, I'm sure you can understand the family's concern about them.
Yeah, well, if you'd let the police in on this right from the start, you'd have nothing to be concerned about.
Well, that's water under the bridge now. Have you seen Tolliver?
Yes, I just spoke to him. I thought with the imminent prospect of surgery, he may be a little more talkative, but he wasn't.
So we still don't know what he's done about the papers.
Well, I'm doing all I can to find them.
Well, what happens in the meantime? The reporters are chomping at the bit for a motive.
All we're telling them is that Tolliver and Susan had some sort of extortion plot. There was a falling out, and he shot her.
They want facts, details.
They're going to have to settle for that for the moment. As far as they're concerned, the police are looking into it.
Look, why not tell them it was a robbery? You know, Tolliver was burglarizing the place. Susan happened to be there, and he shot her. Why mention blackmail at all?
Edward, I'm treading a rather fine line as it is. Now, if they discover I'm holding out on them, they're going to hound me right out of a job.
Look, I can appreciate what you're doing, but...
Oh, look, if this makes any difference, if Tolliver survives and stands trial, it's all going to hit the fan anyway.
But that's not the point. I don't want those reporters airing our dirty linen any sooner than necessary. All this is hard enough on Lila as it is.
I'm going to find those papers. Now, when I do, they're yours. I've got enough proof to convict him.
Well, then why mention extortion at all?
Because, like Everest, it's there. And the best way to deal with this is to let it all come out in the open and then just hope for the best. Now, excuse me, I've got work to do.
Best thing that could happen would be to have that old goat croak under the knife.
Amy, I want you to alert the staff in OR that there'll be a police guard in the hall.
I already know that.
It's not what I asked you, Amy.
Well, yes, sir. It's just that everybody already knows about the murderer. I mean, that's all anybody's talking about.
Well, they just better stop talking about it. And if any reporters call, the staff is to issue a no comment to all questions. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
If they want to know about the patient's conditions, they'll have to learn about it through hospital bulletins. Anything else is police business. Let the commissioner decide what he wants to tell them, not us, not my staff.
Yes, sir.
Ah, Monica, how are you?
Hello. Well, a little worn around the edges, if you want to know the truth.
Well, it's no wonder.
Very proud of her. She was a tower of strength.
Oh, well, you're going to pay for it, because I've already got a lot of brochures for the Caribbean.
I'm going to buy you a whole island in the Caribbean. How's that?
Fine.
Hey, you deserve a rest. Both of you do. In fact, I want you to take the rest of the day off and relax.
Oh, no, Steve. We can't do that. We have too much to do.
I've already arranged to have someone fill in for you.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you.
I realize what both of you have been through. You need a break.
Listen, Steve, I want to apologize if I have caused this hospital any embarrassment whatsoever.
Oh, nonsense. Anyway, now that the murder's been solved, we can put all that behind us.
Now, let's hope so.
By the way, how is Tolliver doing?
Holding his own, but that's all, I'm afraid. Rick and Walton are operating on him right now.
Clamp. I don't like it. Let's check those x-rays again. Scalpel. Very close. The time's hurting us. How's his heart holding up? Weak.
He's lost a lot of blood, Ed.
Give him more, then. We got to save this guy.
We're doing our very best.
Let's do better. From what that Scorpio said, there's an awful lot of unanswered questions riding on his staying alive. Forceps.
General Hospital will continue in a moment.